Well, President Trump says the U.S. is going to run Venezuela for a period of time after capturing leader Nicolás Maduro and his wife during a mission overnight. KETK's Washington correspondent Maddie Beer-Temple reports on the president's remarks and congressional reaction.
The president says he's designating a group of people to run Venezuela until a transition takes place. He also says U.S. companies will tap Venezuela's oil reserves and sell large amounts to other countries.
We're going to run it, essentially, until such time as a proper transition can take place.
President Donald Trump says the U.S. will run Venezuela after capturing the country's leader, Nicolás Maduro, and his wife, Celia Flores, in an overnight operation.
It was dark, and it was deadly.
The president says the USS Iwo Jima is transporting Maduro to the U.S. A trial is expected in the Southern District of New York, where he's been indicted.
As alleged in the indictment, he personally oversaw the vicious cartel known as Cartel de las Solas, which flooded our nation with lethal poison, responsible for the deaths of countless Americans.
The DOJ indictment accuses Maduro of leading a, quote, corrupt, illegitimate government that for decades has leveraged government power to protect and promote illegal activity, including drug trafficking. The U.S. alleges that led to tons of cocaine coming to America. President Trump said the administration did not inform Congress ahead of the operation.
Congress has a tendency to leak. This would not be good.
Democratic lawmakers are questioning whether this was legal. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said in a statement, quote, launching military action without congressional authorization and without a credible plan for what comes next is reckless. The administration has assured me 3 separate times that it was not pursuing regime change or taking military action in Venezuela. Clearly, they are not being straight with Americans.
He's an indicted drug dealer, and the Biden administration agreed with that.
Colorado Republican Congressman Jeff Crank says Maduro's capture was overdue and the president was within his legal authority.
The legal justification for the Maduro operation this morning, I think it's very sound.
The president says he's not ruling out U.S. boots on the ground, but says he doesn't think a second attack will be necessary at this time. In Washington, I'm Maddie Beer-Temple.
Congressman Nathaniel Moran praised President Trump's act. He came by our studio this afternoon, and I asked him what the next steps are and if the president needed congressional approval. Take a listen.
Exceedingly proud of President Trump and the strength that he showed on behalf of the United States in deposing a dictator, totalitarian dictator that was unelected in Venezuela, that was part of a narco drug trafficking ring and has been for years. You know, you go back to 2020, that's when Maduro was first indicted by a United States grand jury on drug trafficking charges. That indictment has now been updated to include his son and also his wife. And so this is reminiscent of what we saw back in 1989 with George Bush when he went into Panama and got Noriega and had Noriega stand trial here in the United States for the drug trafficking that he was involved with back in the 80s and the 90s.
And so, you know, you took a man out of the country. He's going to be indicted. Talk about why President Trump decided to do this. What was Venezuela doing?
Well, there's no secret that President Trump was going to do this. He had mounted military force off the coast of Venezuela. We had taken care of the narco trafficking drug boats that were engaged in trafficking out in the ocean. He had said to Maduro and given Maduro a chance to walk away from power and to end this deal peacefully. Maduro did not take that. I think world leaders across the globe are realizing that when President Trump gives a warning, he means it, and he's going to follow it up with overwhelming strength, and he did that. Here's what I do know is that if military forces are going to continue to be used going forward, the War Powers Resolution of 1973, in my opinion, is invoked. And this needs to come to Congress. Congress needs to authorize the use of military force if we're going to keep boots on the ground, if we're going to be involved long term. The president so far has given notice, as required by the War Powers Resolution, to Congress of his acts within 48 hours of those acts. But now we have a next step, and that means if we're going to have boots on the ground for a sustained period of time, we need to have Congress's approval.
Congressman Moran says he will be back at our nation's capital on Tuesday, where he anticipates he will hear more from the administration on this matter. U.S. Senator John Cornyn says, quote, kudos to President Trump. Maduro was not only an illegitimate president of Venezuela, but the head of a major drug trafficking network, adding he helped fund terrorism in South America and complicit with ghost fleets of Russia, Iran, and China used to evade U.S. sanctions and fund the Russian war on Ukraine, end quote. KETK also spoke with Smith County Republican Party Chairman David Stein on how this attack will take drugs off the streets of East Texas. Hear from him and the interim Democratic chairman tonight at 10. And in the meantime, East Texas state representatives speak on the capture of the Venezuelan president. Read their comments over on our website. That's KETK.com.